Hey everybody, today we're going to be working on our 2007 GMC Acadia and trying to clean up these headlights. They're looking pretty bad and it needs to pass inspection soon. We're going to utilize the 3M Auto Advanced Headlight Restoration System. You can pick this up in several places, auto parts stores, that Jungle place. That's where I got this one, and I've had several different versions of this. This one comes with some pads and some paper, and let's break it open and look at it. Comes with a little pack of rubbing compound. Some hook and loop pads and sandpaper, and the hook and loop attachment for your drill, and they're different grits. I encourage you to read the directions in the kit, but in my experience, here's how I do it. You want to tape off the painted surrounding surfaces, because if your pad runs off there, you're going to sand your paint. You don't want to be trying to fix that. And also, it's going to fling that stuff all over the place. So I've done it with the hood open in this car, and there's little white dots everywhere. So you might want to apply some sort of masking paper, plastic, whatever. In this case, I'm going to wash the car after this is done, so it's not really that important. It'll wash right off. In some places where the light overhangs, you can just slide the tape under it. Here's how I've been doing it. I use a drill with a cord just because they generally spin faster and you don't have to mess around worrying about batteries. We'll start with a 500 grit. I just have water in the squirt bottle. Likely on these other grits you don't need to use water, but it seems to work better for me. On these more coarse grits later on you definitely need to. So just get that wet. These headlights have been done fairly recently, so you don't need to go too crazy with the 500, but that's what it's going to look like after the 500 grit. Pretty cloudy. So I may go over this one more time real quick, and then we'll move up to the next grit. Next up, we have 800. Do the same thing. I haven't mentioned it, but you want to keep the surface of the pad square. You don't want to dig in on the edges, or you could burn a mark in there or get some deep scratches that you won't be able to get out. At this point, it should be evenly hazy again. Next is the 3000. I don't know, it's kind of a spongy clay foam thing. And they definitely require you use water with this one. Well, I think it's easier to use water with all of them, but we'll do the same process. Just make sure you keep it wet. So utilizing that 3000, it doesn't remove near as much. It doesn't seem to dry out as bad. So that's probably good enough for right now, and we'll step to the next step. Next up, you take off this 3000, and there's a compounding pad. There's the rubbing compound. This is likely the same as any other automotive rubbing compound. I've used just regular car compound, but it works fine. But they gave us this, so we'll use it. Of course, I've left it out in the sun, so it's almost burning my fingers. That's probably too much. Pro tip, kind of smear that around a little bit. Otherwise, as soon as you start this, it's going to fling it everywhere and even make more of a mess. So next up, same process. Since this pad is new, it's going to take a couple applications to kind of get it loaded up enough where it won't dry out. If you allow it to dry out, you could burn the lens, put a big mark you won't be able to get out. Starting to dry out, so it's starting to smear a little bit. You can also just dab some right on the lens. Might be kind of hard to tell in direct sunlight, But there's after about, well, all that time we spent, maybe 10 minutes. There's the untouched side. Now granted, it's not perfect. This car is 14 years old and has almost 250,000 miles on it. So there are going to be some imperfections that are not going to come out of there. But it looks way better than it did. Now we'll go ahead and knock out this side. 500 grit. This hook and loop is pretty mean. You want to make sure you don't rip the foam off the disc the first couple times you use it. There we go. As I said, it makes a huge mess. So maybe the sun will go down a little bit or behind a cloud and we can get washing this thing. So anyway, in my opinion, that kit's all you need. A couple different grits and some compound. There's the after result. Anyway, a couple key takeaways. Originally, these headlights had some sort of coating on there. So if you still have that, it's going to take a little more grinding with the first grit to get through that. The first time I did these, I struggled with that. Once you get that coating off, it's a pretty quick process. All in all, I probably have 20 minutes of total time invested in this. When you film, it adds a lot. Another thing, I wouldn't recommend doing this in your Sunday best because that stuff's going to fling everywhere. It'll wash out, but it's going to make a mess before then. So thanks for watching and subscribing. If you already haven't, please reach down there and hit that subscribe button to get more riveting content like this. Thanks.